Today we're going to be back on the 431. The injection pump is installed, but it's acting kind of funny, and it needs to be, I think, taken apart on the top end where the throttle works. I have to use this shutoff valve to control the throttle, and then the throttle valve doesn't do anything. So I'm just going to grab some tools. We're going to go out there, see if we can find out why it has decided to stop working. So I'm just going to grab a couple of tools. I need to be able to turn the fuel on and off. I got to take off a couple of hoses, and then I need a standard screwdriver. Once we get it taken apart, this is where I'm going to confess to something. While I had it apart, I did tighten the screw that's on top of the little plate inside of there that dictates how much fuel can be allowed into the system. I didn't think there'd be any harm in doing it because I'd seen some other people say it just adds a little more fuel into the system. And I think I made a mistake by believing that it wasn't a big deal. I think it actually might be why I've got so much smoke coming out of the system. So I think the right thing to do is to investigate why I'm not able to idle without adjusting the fuel cutoff a lot. So, armed with our tools, let's go take care of the tractor. By the way, there is another major problem with the tractor. I have driven it around a little bit, and it's kind of fun to have a diesel that's driving. But if I touch the brakes, I hear the most horrible sound coming from inside the tractor. And I'm fairly certain that there is something very wrong behind the brakes. So we're going to dig into the brakes, maybe even next. Let's start off by shutting off the fuel. When I need to do some work on the hydraulics, I will pull the tank off. And when I pull the tank off, we'll see about replacing this valve. Okay, that should stop any fuel from flowing. All right, so the conditions are I have to have the shutoff valve, and I don't know how well you can see it, but I have to have the shutoff valve almost all the way in the shutoff position. It idles huge, set right there. And then this is supposed to go both directions, and I don't feel that it's doing anything in there at all. Nothing's moving at all. So something is bound up inside of here. So that's what we're going to work on. I'm going to try to capture some of the fuel if I can, because I keep losing fuel. Let's see, is that too close? It can't be that close. All right. This fuel port is below the area I want to work on, so if I drain from there, I should get everything out. And I'm going to try to save this fuel. There should be some fuel in there. I'll just drop that in there. Yeah, there we go. All right, now while that's draining, that's too big, 9/16. Where's my 9/16? I think I've taken this little thing off about 12 times. This little pipe. All right, that's pretty much everything. Now I think I can, yeah, let's get our fuel that we want to try to preserve out of the way. I got a feeling this screwdriver is not gonna fit that. Oh, it did. What do you know? How convenient. A lot of bird noises this morning. Okay, I want us to discover what's going on in here together. So we'll take this off. This shouldn't have any bearing at all. Yeah, that's nice and clean. That shouldn't have anything to do at all with the throttle. And some windstorms. Okay, so why doesn't this thing seem to do anything? It seems like it's installed in the right spot. This is the only thing though that's moving that needle, and I don't understand why. Why doesn't this move that needle at all? The other thing I think that there might be a problem, the part back here that presses against that rotating part down in here, I worry that it may have become dislodged. So there's two little indents on the thing that is against the spinning. Boy, I'm using all the right words today. And I wonder if maybe this isn't resting in the right spot on it. So I think we're gonna have to take all of this stuff off on the top. But more than anything, like, why doesn't this thing have any impact on the metering valve? So let me start taking it apart. All right, according to the picture here, there's an open end of the spring, then there's a cam, then there's a spring, and then there's a cap. Cam's not the right word. But anyway, I think I had this installed backwards. That would absolutely explain why I was having trouble. All right, let's fix it. All right, I believe the first thing that we need to put together is the metering valve and its little spring. So we'll carefully draw them out. I swear I have smaller forceps, but in my shop right now, only that big long one. That's all I can find. So in order to fix this, we got to lift that up. And then that falls straight in have this up, I do want to look deeper in there and see if I can see. It looks correct. I think we're fine. I'm not going to mess with that anymore. And it might not be perfect, but I don't want to mess with it. Okay, so that linkaging, good. All right, what's next? All right, let's put our spring into there. That cap there. If I remember correctly, the thing that we're just now taking apart or putting back together, it is supposed to be what does idle. So it makes sense now that I was having difficulty setting idle. And it's because I didn't have the correct parts in play. So let's tighten this back on there to the torque specified in the book. Click. Put the sight window back in place. Okay, I think we can move this now. I can hear my neighbor over there winding up either a turbo or a supercharger. Whatever it is, it's pretty cool. All right, more parts out of the fuel. Take this screw here. Okay, good. Okay, I think we can bring this back in a little. And now the throttle. First over the throttle is the spacer. Okay, fit that all the way through. You know, it still is not affecting the throttle. I'm sure all the linkages are in. Okay, the last part here is the pin. Okay. Well, so that's all the way off. That's all the way on. Yeah, I think it's working. That looks like the way it's supposed to be. Can't tell for 100% sure, but it looks good enough to me. I don't see any harm in doing this. Just speed up the process. All right, let's put this back on. Okay, that repair I think is done, much closer to the factory settings, so that makes me happy. I never should have loosened that, I never should have tightened that adjustment screw. I think that was probably the only mistake that I made, where I was like, I know better than the original settings. And I doubt that anyone ever previous adjusted that screw. So let's hope now that I can idle this tractor. Oh yeah, that's a big diesel truck. That sounds pretty sweet. Oh, it didn't occur to me, you guys probably can't hear it because I'm wearing one of these microphones. Okay, that feels good. Oh, I didn't realize that I took that apart up here without fully loosening it. Let's see if we can fix that. By the way, these pieces of rubber are real dry and you know, cracked and stuff. Some of them I have just replaced with some silicone hose that feels like it's the right size, and it's doing fine. It fits. Hey, get that on the threads, this on the threads. Give them a tightening. All right, let's cross our fingers that this diesel engine will idle now. That's what we're going after, is a smooth idle. And hopefully that was it. We don't have to mess around with anything else. Yep, I saw that there was some dirt at the bottom of that container of fuel. I didn't dump the whole thing in. All right, let's go open up the fuel. You guys are probably thinking, we don't need to see everything you do up close. So let's think about the startup procedure. We did drain the pump. So I think we're going to crank for a few seconds with the fuel shutoff valve all the way shut off, because I have observed that when it's doing that, the fuel has to go in a circuit, goes in a circle, and so it times the pump a lot faster. So, key to the on position, fuel to the all the way off. Oh, we gotta take our socket out of there. Thank goodness we were spinning the motor in the direction that it needed to go. We didn't have that socket set to the wrong direction. That would have been not good. All right, let's do it a little bit more. Okay, that's different. We didn't have that problem last time. Let's try it a little bit more. Wow. I did not expect this. I was thinking we would be kind of home free on this one. I was not anticipating it not bleeding real quick. Okay, let me go grab a socket. Okay, we're just going to loosen one of these. Okay, let's give it a turn. Okay, I see some fuel leaking now. So that means we got at least one. And perhaps if we started on just the one, the others will come around when it gets a little more RPMs going. All right, cross those fingers. Man, could it be that it needs that adjustment? There's no way one little turn made that big of a difference, right? It's just got some air in it. Okay, that's all 4 of them. They've all been bled. So I'm now firing on all 4 cylinders, full fuel. This is wild. Could that one change? I mean, I put it back closer to factory setting. I'm finding this hard to believe. Like, fixing the spring, that should have fixed a lot of the other problems I was having. But now it doesn't want to fire. Let's, I guess, is it cheating to put a little ether in the system? And I don't think ether will bypass the oil filter. Maybe it will. Maybe this is kind of dumb what I'm doing, but I think I'm gonna put the ether in a little bit closer to the inlet here. Maybe. I mean, if this thing doesn't budge, then no, we won't be putting the ether in this way. But I don't think it'll make its way through the oil filter bath. I could be wrong, but I just a hunch that that wouldn't work. Okay, that's a big hose clamp. Okay, we just need a little tiny bit of room to squeeze some ether into the system here. Okay, good. Oh yeah. Okay, let's go on over to the other side and we'll spoon feed a little bit of ether into the system. I don't know how comfortable I am putting too much in, but it definitely needs some. Okay, it definitely hit a little harder than it has. That was a lot of dust. Made a lot of noise, but it did not run. No fuel? And why is that knocking so loud? That does not sound good at all. I didn't hear it knock like that in the past. Okay, well, we know fuel is coming up here because we've seen fuel drop. We know that there's pressure coming from the pump. I mean, it's not like the injectors just decided to get clogged all of a sudden. Yeah, what the heck is that? Holy crap, should we take it apart and adjust that thing forward again? That sucks. And yeah, that clank sound is awful. I'm not liking that at all. mean, I know the settings inside of there are important, but I put that thing back closer to its originally factory settings. Or I shouldn't say factory. When I received it settings. Is it just the ether that makes it angry like that? Making that noise? Could there still be air in the pipes? Is that why? And what does air in the pipes do? Does it allow for like a ballooning where there's an air bubble and the diesel fuel just pressures up against the bubble and back and forth? It's just sipping. I will say that. It is just sipping. Okay, that should be plenty. So we've gone from a situation where it was way too much fuel to idle to won't start. Even when we give it a little ether, which it apparently hates. And I'm not familiar with that knocking noise is. There's no white smoke at all. I hate to say it. I think I have to put that screw back. What a pain. This is a pain in the arse. Oh yeah, turn off the fuel first. Or we'll be sitting here collecting fuel. Okay, I'm getting ready to turn the engine. Okay, that's ready. She's looking drained. Good. I think that makes this number 13, taking off this hose. Lucky 13. Okay, probably tighten that back up. Well, I'm a little bit flabbergasted, I guess is the word. Not the dirt. Oh, darn it. Why didn't it run with its original setting? And then when I adjusted it for no good reason, just, you know, hey, some advice from somebody on YouTube saying the old timers used to tighten this down and it would just create more black smoke is all. And then I adjusted the springs so the throttle should be more perfect, but now it won't even run. Okay, same thing as before. Start with the spin here, into the fuel. You don't go in the fuel. You and you do. And I need a 7/16 on this guy here. All right, yeah. Oh, it's not free of fuel. Okay, now it is. All right, let's turn this bad boy over. Oh, I can see one of the rollers. I don't know if you can, but there's a roller passing through that hole. This might be worth getting a better video of. So that was a roller on a compression stroke there. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's our adjustment screw. So what are we going to do? Tighten it a half, or should I just tighten it a full and go back to the way I know it ran? Maybe all of my problems were in the throttle spring. So there's one. I don't feel good about what I'm doing here. I don't feel like I should have done that. But the thing is not running. All right, let's go back to assembly. So it's just kind of interesting to me. Come on. Feeling like it's cross-threading. I don't like the way it feels. I think it was just that there's a ridge right here that keeps the valve down, and I was bumping up against it. All right, how does this guy go in? All right, let's grab those parts out of there. Not sure if you guys can hear it, but my neighbor has a turkey over there. And it's loud. All right, let's run it. I'm not going to pour the fuel directly into the pump this time. I think we're going to let fuel flow naturally from the fuel system. And maybe, just maybe, that contributes to air bubbles being in the system. Okay, spec tight, spec, spec. Okay, so this fuel will go back in the tank so that it has a chance to go through all of the filters before it goes back in the pump. That's the other reason I'm doing that. Except for the last little bit. Okay, I think it's probably a good idea to crack open the lifters again. Not the lifters, don't you go. Crack open the injectors, since we didn't see any fuel come out of them for a little bit. I'll be a little bit surprised if this is the fix, honestly. Okay, fuel is flowing into the system. Let's give it a minute while we crack open some injectors. So is it normal for, I'm sorry I keep asking this question, but is it normal for diesels to ping like that and make knock noises when you use ether on them? Because I've never used ether on a diesel engine before, and that noise was awful. That sounded like something horribly wrong was happening inside. I guess it could be, oh yeah, I guess if it blows up in the compression chamber early, then it's fighting. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's turn it off. That makes it recycle fuel faster. And once again, I left my ratchet on the machine. Good job. Okay, there's definitely more fuel coming out of the injectors. If this was what it was, I will be really shocked because, like I said, I was not supposed to make that adjustment. And imagine if I hadn't. I would have had no idea that it needed to be adjusted and that was why this diesel wasn't running. I would have been absolutely flabbergasted. I never would have thought, hey, why don't you tighten that nut a little bit and see if we can get more fuel coming up here. I don't know if the timing is correct on this, and I don't know how to test that. On a gas vehicle, you can use a light and your ear, like you can kind of tell, but I don't know how to do that with this one. So I might need some help from some people that know things. Oh, good. We have a yellow jacket who's decided to join the club. Okay, that's tight. That's tight. That's still loose. Okay. Let's pump it a little while and see if we can get fuel to come out of here. Oh, yes! Yes, 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 yes. That's running way better. Let me see if I can get that hose back on. Or we're sending fuel. Still smokes like crazy. All right. See, it's white. Does that mean my timing is bad, or does that mean something else? I mean, I guess they could adjust the timing. Oh yeah. Yes. This is fixed. The smoke is concerning. I'll have to do some inspections and find out if the smoke is related to having too much fuel or if it's burning oil or something like that. It's white still, so it definitely could be oil. There is no blow-by coming out of this tube, and maybe it's just so full of oil and gunk it can't blow by. But when I pull this open, there's no air trying to get out of the crankcase. So that makes me think it's not blowing past the rings. So is it just burning oil, and will it ever stop? Or is there a valve seal that's letting oil from the valves? That could be it too. Lots and lots of things it could be. But the exciting thing is that right now it's running again. And we have throttle control. That is something I did not have earlier. It was just out of control throttle. I promise never to use ether on this thing again. I hated the way that sounded. It scared me to death. And the oil does subside a little bit. It goes down, but it's still oily or smoky, stinky. But the foot pedal now works, I'll bet.